It's 6:01. Chief, do you want to make your silence the cell phone announcement? There we go. We can't start till we get that. Can't start till we get that message. Okay, welcome to City Council special meeting on Wednesday, June 17th at 6 o'clock. Everybody is here with the exception of Kelly Smith. He is on vacation, so we wish him well. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, we are quickly on to item 3, citizen comment period.
We did not have anyone sign up.
Okay, thank you. Then we will move on to approvals. Number 4, approvals and authorizations. The following items are for discussion, consideration, and action. 4.1, fiscal year 2027 budget workshop. That's Ryan.
All right. Mayor, Council, this is the second budget workshop, and as I did mention the first workshop, we're just following sort of the same pattern and our structure of going through the process to look at revenue and then expenditures. Now looking tonight at the general fund and then the water fund as an overview from that standpoint. Let me see if I got the right. There we go. What we'll look at is revenue versus expenses. We'll look at the administration, our of course proposed expenses by departments, administration, court, police, public works, community center, library, and general fund capital. And for your knowledge, again, I think as you well know, the general fund is the primary operating fund and supports our core municipal services. And then we'll kind of go over the preliminary water expenses, interest and sinking fund, which is our debt, CIP, meeting schedule, and then any questions you might. Capital expenditure is the $1,180,000. Capital expenditure is the $1,180,000 that is making us obviously the shortage covered by revenue. So that's the transfer over from the reserve basically. That brings us down to the 9 months from 13 to 9. So, any other questions? Restricted funds, those have specific criteria for using those funds as listed. And then as you see at the bottom, right now, the proposed budget has us at 9 months for a reserve. This is sort of just an overview, glance of the administration, professional services, and it gets you, let's see real quick. This provides, our financial oversight, human resources, organizational support. The key priorities in the administration include maintaining efficient service delivery, supporting staff development, ensuring responsible fiscal management. The proposed budget reflects ongoing operational needs while maintaining cost control. So if you see right now, and you'll see this in the different departments, we plugged in 3%. Right now it says plus 2%, which means we're focusing on a few positions in administration that would be an additional 2% on top of that 3%. Last year, if you recall, we focused on bringing up the salaries or hourly wages in public works and water to make sure we're competitive. We've looked at a few positions to do the same, where we're trying to bring those up to make sure we're competitive and retain employees. Any questions on the administrative? And again here, this is under the city support, operational support, and then down to, again, I've listed funding requests. We have there the positions, 3% COLA, 2% position increases, computer laptop replacement, and then some additional dollars for the codification project as we move forward. And let me preface this, Mayor and Council, that I'm giving you an overview. This past week, Robin received all the requests by the departments, and we're going to be meeting next week with each department to discuss specifically their funding requests within their department. And so those will have a better idea at the July 1st council meeting in our budget workshop 3 about what we can and can't incorporate into this budget. And then it'll show a column where we have unfunded projects at that time. So, correct, Robin? Thank you. And then again in court, as you know, court operation process citations, related cases, budget expenditures, support personnel costs, court technology, records management. The proposed budget ensures continued efficient case processing, customer service, resources, and aligned to maintain compliance with state regulations and reporting. And then here's the bottom line for court. Police department, again, as you see, we have 3% by it as the COLA. And then public safety obviously remains one of the city's highest priorities and represents a significant portion of general fund expenditures. Proposed budget supports staffing, training, equipment, vehicle operations, and technology needs. The funding is intended to maintain current service levels, support community policing efforts, investment in personnel, equipment, help ensure officer safety, and have effective service delivery. And so here is under operational support, the breakdown of the police budget, and then again the bottom there for the projected FY27 budget, $1,995,000. Again, we plugged in the 3% COLA right now. Purchase of a new patrol unit from the general fund capital expenditures is outlined in this proposed budget. And then right now, what's unfunded, I think that was a request the chief made last year. Parking lot cover. So we just carried that over right now, but we're gonna get more into maybe other things the chief would like to see in his department next week. I think it's a long wish list, right, Chief? So, here we go. Public Works is responsible for maintaining streets, facilities, drainage, infrastructure, and other public assets. Budgeted expenditures support personnel, again, like police, personnel, equipment, maintenance activities, and operational supplies. Proposed budget focuses on preserving infrastructure and maintaining service reliability. We plugged in the 3% COLA, and then again, budget here FY27, 823, 231, and right now just have a 3% COLA budgeted. We'll probably get more into detail with some of the things that Stephen would like to do as far as facility improvements at Public Works and have a better breakdown of those items. And then, of course, he submitted some things that he'd like to see and then incorporating in this budget. Community Center, right now, here is the bottom line here, 199, 800, I'm sorry, library. On the same page, but it's down there at 86, 863. Well, we don't have it listed, but it's under the CIP is the replacement and another HVAC. We just replaced one HVAC at about 20,000, and so we have to replace the other one, and we're going to try to do that, incorporating in this budget after October 1st. Library, here, again, we have the 3% plugged in. Ms. Linda had provided some things already that we have incorporated into and plugged in from that standpoint, but obviously we will, again, get more into detail with funded requests next week's. Right now we put in funding requests, which include the 3% COLA, adding 500 to books, 500 to ebooks, and then increase in special events by 500. That's already been incorporated into this proposed budget at $199,800. And then again, as I referenced capital, we have their total capital at $1,160,000. That is the transfer over from reserves to cover these expenses. Purchase and outfit the unit for PD, $70,000. This $60,000 is what we're going to talk about at some point, where there's a breakdown of what Stephen would like to do with the facility at Public Works. Right now, I'm plugging in 100,000 because we're probably a month or two from finishing the street CIP, which is going to outline some streets so we can start doing some streets here in Garden Ridge. And then, of course, I mentioned the HVAC replacement there under the community center. And then again, the transfer to water for the Vista Ridge interconnect, and then the sewer interconnect for, which is based on our agreement. Hopefully soon, they'll be in front of y'all with shirts for a sewer agreement. This would be able to connect with shirts underneath Door Lane there. That's the 350,000. Any questions so far to capital? Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I've got a few questions here. As we were going through this, it was in various different areas and stuff, but it looked like insurance costs overall were increasing by 5 to 10% across multiple areas. Is that anything we're doing? Have we looked at that to try to mitigate that at all? I know it's not a lot of money, but
I think it's based on a couple claims we've had. Go ahead, Robin.
It's a projection forecasting for what we've been doing over the past few years, and we have been with the company we're with forever. I mean, TML. So it's based on the trend of how it's been. We haven't gotten an actual re-rate yet, but that's what we're putting in for now until we know. And it was accurate last year. That's what it came back at, 5%. So
okay, that 5 to 10% increase is reasonable from what you're seeing.
the 5%, I don't know, do you know which one
There's a
was-
couple that were higher. I can go through it
Yeah.
all later, but
I think our biggest increase this year was in our state unemployment taxes. But that's, the state of Texas, they can throw whatever percentage they want. We're lumped in with all municipal governments on that one. Workers' comp increased quite a bit this last year. That might have been closer to the 10%.
that might have been the one that jumped out at me.
But I
yeah.
think all of the other liabilities, property, those were all just around 5%, and that's what we put in for
Okay.
next year as well.
Yeah,
You
it's
think
kind-
that's reasonable from the company that we're with and everything?
I think so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and again, we had a couple claims through TML.
Yeah.
That's going to impact our re-rate as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the health. We plugged in, we were planning a double digit, and then we got
Yeah, I saw
actually
that.
a
It's
re-rate. So
healthcare.
that was actually a good thing. And we're still talking with the health provider to see if there's some things we can do in addition to our health benefits for employees right now.
Okay.
So that's not set as well. So we're still working with that.
Got it. Also, the library slides, they said FY '26. I assume that was actually, the numbers were correct for FY '27. That was just a typo.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's updated on the, on this one, but
Oh, I
not
was looking at
before
the
we
ones y'all
got,
sent
yes,
me
sir.
a couple
Yeah,
days ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
It did.
No.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, we'll go through, again, here's the general fund overview. If you have any particular questions, focusing again on the proportion to revenue expenditure transferring over the shortage covered by reserves. I think the number is, we'd still be on the positive side of about 32,000. About 32,000. So if you take out the shortage for CIP, we'd still be on 32,000 above revenue versus expenditure projections, which means we have some dollars to utilize. And as I mentioned last year, between Robin and I, meeting with the departments, filing the proposed budget in July, we'll probably sharpen the pencil a little bit here and there on some of the budgetary items. So this is just a quick graph showing the general fund revenue, obviously being the largest being the taxes ad valorem and then sales tax. Our goal should be, as we move forward in the coming years, is to grow that even larger on the sales tax side. So, and then here is the general fund expenditures. Again, 57% under the maintenance services, and then additional breakdown as you go from personnel, which is staffing, all the way down to the other general fund expenses there. So, any questions under these?
I do have some.
Oh, yes, sir.
The capital expenditures for here in the general fund are about 21%, and the water fund, you'll see in a bit, 28%. Are these numbers normal for a city our size, or are they a result of just aging infrastructure?
Probably a combination of both. I think more attending the size of aging infrastructure.
Okay. All right.
So, you know, if you don't address something and you move down the line, it's going to cost you more. Deferred maintenance, those kind of things. So, go ahead, Robin.
To add to that, on both of these graphs is the 910,000. The general fund is also accounting for that because they're in essence loaning it to the water fund for the water fund to use. So right now, it's showing up on both the general fund and the water fund. So that might also why it might look bigger than it really is, because it's taken into account as revenue for the water fund and an expense on the water fund.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And like last night, Councilman Mueller, attending the Water Commission, if, you know, we do apply for the grant to support the Vista Ridge, that frees up that money towards other projects. So hopefully we get that grant moving forward. Water fund here, again, here's a summary, just like the general fund. You know, total revenue $3,421,000, and then expenses are under $3,212,000, over under $208,000 there. And then you have a 10-month reserve. I provided this to the Water Commission last night as a proposed budget. Let them know that we were kind of focusing on a 10-month reserve, just like we're focusing on a 9-month reserve in the general fund. But doesn't mean that we can't go down to 8 or 9 on this side if we're starting some of the CIP projects if necessary. So, any questions so far on this one? Again, as it looked on the general fund, this is the water fund for personnel, plugging in a 3% COLA. Engineering side, we've upped it about $7,000 for projects from the CIP that we're probably going to need from an engineering standpoint. And then there's some equipment that Stephen Dwayne would like to get under the riding lawnmower there, I believe, Stephen. And then handheld radios, and then continuous chlorine monitor for municipal well sites there. So those are the increases there on the water side. And again, I've listed here the total budget here, $3,212,819. Funding requests, again, 3% COLA, everything that's outlined there, those are particular costs, the lawnmower, riding lawnmower, the chlorine monitor, and then the capital expenditures outlined. Sewer interconnect project with Schertz. Again, if we're able to move forward and get the agreement done in the next month or two with Schertz, which is right now highly likely, we would have to tie in there at a cost to go underneath door lane there for the railroad. And then of course the Vista Ridge tie-in, we're estimating to spend about $560,000 to complete that next year. So, yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you. Water fund here, again, the revenue breakdown, overall $3,421,000, and then we're over under on the positive side, $208,681 with the 10-month reserve. Here's just the graph here showing the water revenue side for sales, fees, miscellaneous, and then the portion, as Robin mentioned, the loan from the general fund. And then a breakdown of the water expenditures, just like the general fund there. This section will go over some personnel review, payroll details, general fund, water fund. Oh, yes, sir.
Just a quick question back to the water. We talked previously about a water rate study, and is that something that we plan to do in FY27? In other words, none of the budgeting for this includes any sort of estimate as to what changes that might
No, we
recommend.
programmed money in this current budget we're operating in, $30,000. As I indicated to the Water Commission, we're gonna move forward with a consultant who's coming aboard to help us with a water rate for would be FY 28 through 32. And so our goal is to get them on board here, get them to work and get them done and paid before September 30th. So as of October 1st, and as we go through this process next year, we know exactly what rate we're using, which will incorporate the 20-year CIP as well. So, and speaking of that, as I told the Water Commission, we're looking at right now, the current rate essentially as what we're using in the FY 26 for a water rate, using it for this same, that's what we built in here for the FY 27, correct, Robin? So I had mentioned to the Water Commission that we can possibly give some options if we wanted to increase here, you know, because as you talking about paying back debt on a certain portion of the water rate, or using that for projects, it's only going to incur so much dollars by just raising the rate. So I would sort of tend to let the consultant come in, give us the next 5 years of what our rate should be based on our 20-year CIP, based on our water production, everything in all. So, let's see. Total personnel, here it's a breakdown of personnel by department. Of course, police department is 47%. And then water, public works, and library, and community center, and court. So those are the departments broken down percentage, and it gives you an accurate count of the 34 employees for the city of Garden Ridge. Here is a total personnel, again by cost, general fund and water, giving you the entire total budget, the $3,838,670. Again, that's plugging in 3% in both funds, additional 2% for 4 positions in admin and court. And then right now, we just listed it because we talked about it last year, was unfunded, which is the contribution. Currently, we're 2-to-1 at 5%. If we were to go up to 6%, there's a rate from 9 or 10% to about 13 or 14%, but that is a monetary amount of about $100,000. We'll get into that, but it's going to cost the city dollars to be able to shift from a 5 to 6 to 7% contribution. And here it is right here. Thank you, Robin. I knew it was there. And so if we go with option 1 to 6, it's an increase of the budget by $115,000. And then, of course, year 7, legislature recently passed that cities can go up to 8%. So that's what it looks like at 8%. I think there's only 3 or 4 cities that have only gone to 8% since then. I don't know, I'm looking at Marissa, I thought maybe. I heard something like that, so. Marissa usually has that data ready to go, so.
So 7% is the norm?
7% is the norm. If you look at the pool of cities, at 2-to-1, 7 is the probably 60 to 70%, maybe even 80% range for most cities, large, small. So, but that's something to consider. Obviously, that's unfunded right now. Interest and sinking. This is our debt model here. This shows you all the debt service payments, the actual revenue out of the ad valorem to be paying back our debt as part of the interest and sinking. And then, of course, the ending fund balance after paying back the debts is $30,738. So, any questions on that in particular? Robin recently met with our financial advisors to talk about the possibility of revisiting some of our debt. But they said right now the interest rate, we have a good interest rate related to these current debt, so it's not something to revisit right now. So, again, CIP fund budget overview. This is a part of what is under the, I think, water and street master plan that discusses impact fees. Correct, Robin? So that's what we have in there for 204-556. And then we could use 200 of that for that sewer interconnect to alleviate that 350 if possible. And then the street impact there is at about 70,902. We're actually going to take some dollars out of it, I mean 15, 20,000 to finish up the street CIP, and we can use that money for plans, studies, those kind of things. So that's where we'll be using the dollars from that. So as we move forward, July 1, you'll have a better idea, kind of a more, I'll just kind of have a summary of general fund water again, and then showing what we've plugged in as a respects to what the departments have requested and what's showing unfunded. And then we'll have a better idea of what number that we have to use if you wanted to, as council, take more of the reserve to cover those expenses moving forward. Again, last year it was all CIP projects that we transferred over from the reserve. And of course, as you saw on the second or third slide, it's still the same thing here because revenue is over expenditures right now. And then Wednesday, August 5th, regular council meeting, I'll present the proposed budget that I'll file with Marissa, that I've had filed with Marissa. Discuss the tax rate, proposed tax rate, and then further into August, we'll have a budget public hearing where council will need to take action. And then the September 2nd regular city council meeting, tax rate public hearing, ratify the budget, take a record vote, adopt the tax rate by ordinance, and take a record vote. And then y'all will be done with the budget this year. So we try to get a lot of this done in June, so there's not much to be content with on the budget side in July, and then try to get this done in August and finalize it in September. So, any questions?
Yes, I don't know if this is the time to ask, forgive my ignorance, or if do we wait till July the 1st, but was going to ask, where would we, I know some things that have been brought to my attention at some of these coffee with council member is like our advancements in technology here at City Hall, or especially like with the screens when people are trying to watch us. I know I get the complaint that they can't see anything but a white screen. Do we have any monies that we're going to put aside to see what maybe having some advancements in technology for maybe the city's website or the way we get outreach to the community? I mean, is that something that we could bring up now, or do we sit with you?
Oh, no, I mean,
one-on-one? And
if that's something a particular council member would like to see, then you can ask us. And we
Look
have
at it.
we have PEG money right now to be able to do that, right? If we wanted to, utilize that. What's that? Yeah, there's some in there. But if we want to do further technological improvements in here, we do have some PEG dollars. So.
I know you and I had talked too about, I don't know, about like a billboard too in the front of City Hall for announcements. I don't know if that's something that was also looked at in the budget.
Yeah.
There's just some ideas just to kind of wanted to present with you that could that be something that we look at funding as well, if we even have the money.
The mayor asked me about that too. So I'm kind of asking some other cities and getting an idea of what they have. Like if you ever drive down Universal City, Kitty Hawk, there's a great billboard they have there by the new Chick-fil-A. That would look great. Curbside here, but it's contacting them how much you spend. More than likely they paid for it out of EDC dollars, I would assume. But yeah, it's kind of looking at some other cities, what they have, and then kind of getting some prices and seeing if it can be incorporated in the budget. So, yeah.
And-
Quickly, Marissa, how does our website updates work?
Like a redesign?
Yeah, aren't those built in every few years or so?
They are, but we had one in 2022 or 2023, so I don't think we'll have another one for a few years.
Yeah. Well, we have a free one, I believe, and we've had a couple calls, Cindy and I, but we just need to get that sort of project started, essentially, with them. But it's free, like an upgrade, like they'll just do some aesthetic things, modifications. It's not like a brand new website. That's where we got to pay for, So it's like Marissa said, if it's 2022, maybe next year we can plug some money in to actually build a new website. But we need to take advantage of the free one this year. So
Yeah, so we do have the free one this year, but I don't I don't know how long they offer that
Yeah.
to you. Like, I think we're pushing the end date of when it would need to be done by. Because I know last time when we did the redesign, although we did redesign the entire website, it took Kat and I a good year and a half working on that and implementing it. The website was down for a little while, but we changed everything. So that's very different than just tweaking a few things
Yeah.
here and there. But yeah, I think it's every 4 years that is
Yeah,
built
I know
into our
it's built in.
contract.
Yeah.
that-
And I
don't
guess the
think we
further
need to do
question-
a massive redesign every 4 years, because then people don't know where anything is, and we're changing
Right,
things
right.
constantly, but.
And I guess, Brian, if you could get some specific information about the issues they have with the website, yeah, it's improvements.
Yeah, because some of those things, we as staff might be able to change and do ourselves. There's a lot of things that we can do in the back end that affect the usability of the website. There's just certain things that, if they're more advanced, we would need Civic Plus to do them for us. But yeah, if we have specifics, it might be stuff that we could do ourselves.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, 'cause
I'll
you're
get that to you.
talking anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 for probably a brand new website from like Civic Plus, but from a technological, sometimes it might just be additional cameras, but again, you know, someone's gonna have to operate that, you know, for an additional cameras to see what people see on the screen, you know. Like when I was in Castle Hills, that it was able, because we used the meeting as a Zoom, right? So you could actually share it so everybody online could see what's on the screen too. But yeah, it's just looking at what capabilities we can incorporate here, and costs, of course, so.
The other thing I wanted to ask, and again, forgive my ignorance, because I don't know if this is the time to ask. I guess I'm looking at legal as for guidance as this as well, but the talk about identifying an exploratory committee for the library to see about the funding that they're trying to come up with later, could we discuss some of that to see how we can move forward on whether we want to vote on moving forward with an exploratory committee on fundraising for what they're trying to expand over there? I mean, would it be this to be the time to do it, or would it be at a different meeting, or would that be something
I think we're
off
gonna
the
try
record,
to.
you know, off this, on the side talking with
Well,
you?
I think we're gonna try to have an agenda item on the July 1st that speaks to that. So it could kind of talk about how that pathway would be done. So, again, it's more of, would be like blessing the project, having them try to go out, fundraise, and then work towards a contributing partnership at some point based on dollars available again, you know? Because you saw the slide that I showed the first time, or last time, there's $1 million in there and there's 6 projects, so. But that would be the case. Sorry, Mary, do you have a question? I'm sorry. Oh. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, I'll be back July 1st, a little more defined proposed budget. We can start looking at some of those things as well, for the feasibility of costs, and like I had mentioned the mayor, I will start looking at other cities for particular signs like that, so, yeah, so. But thank y'all, and thank Robin, she put this presentation together, so thank you, Robin.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Robin.
it.
Thank
So,
you, Ryan.
Thank,
It's a good overview. Thank you. So we are on to 5, citizen comment period. You're not required to sign up, but anybody can come forward. Doesn't look like we have anybody. Then we are on to 6, executive session. The city council shall recess the open meeting and reconvene in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071 to conduct a private consultation with legal counsel concerning the pending condemnation proceedings styled Outer Loop Utility LLC versus City of Garden Ridge, Texas. Cause number 2026 CV0213 in County Court Number 1, Comal County, Texas. The city council may reconvene in open session to take any action deemed necessary as a result of said consultation. So it is 6:36 and we are convening into executive session. Thanks. It is 7:02, and we are executive session. No action was taken in executive session. Is there any action we want to take in public?
I move to grant the authority to the mayor, city manager, and city attorney to accept a settlement and easement in OLU in lieu of lawsuit. The terms discussed in closed session subject to ratification by the whole city council.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed? The ayes have it. 7, business items. Oh, no, we went through that. A, we're right to adjournment. There being no further business, the city council special meeting is adjourned at 7:03 PM.